What's up, folks? Jeremy Brand here, MMA Sucka. This is the first in a hell of a long time. We're doing a live discussion here on the MMA Sucka YouTube channel. I'm joined by a former Craig Jones opponent, long time ago. Trek down the I-5 to Submission Underground. My guest here today, we're going to talk CJI. We're going to talk about what he's got going on. CJI, don't want to say CGI like everybody else. Micah Brakefield joins the show. Thanks for joining me today, Micah.
Hey, it's good to talk. Sorry, my wife was just coming down.
It's
The
all
wife with
good, man.
the.
It's
No,
been a
it's good to
while,
talk to
man.
you.
It's been a while. I haven't
It's been a
even
long
seen you
time.
in person in ages. But like I said, a former Craig Jones opponent, a guy who, when he was making the drive down the I-5 to compete for Submission Underground, was, not much money in their pocket going down there to compete at Submission Underground. And now look at you over in Ontario, owning a gym and running 10th Planet at Tobacoke. Complete congratulations to you, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's actually obviously been a wild ride for everyone. Like Craig competed for free in that match. He like came from Australia. Like
Well,
it
really,
was.
I mean, Craig had a few big matches prior to that, but post Micah Brakefield was when he really did blow up. And I mean, obviously, not to toot your own horn or anything, but the sit, rollover, all that kind of stuff, it did make a bit of a splash on social media back in the day, but also, like, his name blew up immensely after that. Like, people knew who he was. You knew who he was. You knew what you were getting into a little bit, correct?
Yeah, he had like just started to blow up. He was like I think it was just after he had that armbar thing with Gordon. Like he
Yeah.
had like I remember he had just heel hooked Nathan Orchard. I don't remember if that was the same in the same tournament, but it was like around that time.
Okay. Well,
But it was his last like one on the undercard. Like
yeah.
he did that one and then, you know, he got the step up to the main card.
That. I mean, that was years ago. Did did you take anything away from that match? And like, did you know that? Did you think he would blow up to the capacity that he has?
Yeah, it was definitely one of the first matches in maybe ever that I'd lost where I was like, oh, I got to catch up. Like I was a brown belt at the time,
Yeah.
and he was like a top black belt, but I made a mistake. Like I had watched video with Nabil, which I never do, and we had like studied stuff, and like a lot of the like leg lock stuff I do now is stuff I learned in that kind of era, but
Okay.
um, I just kind of like thought he was going to my legs because of us watching him do leg lock stuff, and like Nabil really liked his leg lock stuff. So I kind of thought he was going to my legs, and he wasn't. He was going to my back. And watching that, it was like pretty obvious he was going to my back. But I was like, oh, he's faking going to my back so he can like dip into my legs. And I like wouldn't have thought that if I was just in the moment grappling. So
Of course.
it definitely taught me to not really worry about what other people are doing as much. Like just be well rounded and kind of just like go from there.
For sure. And the first 30, 40 seconds of that match, I mean, the scrambles were good. Like you ended up getting back up on top. There were a few little moments there. Did you guys have any discussion at post match? Because I know obviously Submission Underground, there's dressing rooms downstairs, everyone's there. Did you guys talk after the match?
And not really that match, but we talked a lot in like other cards. Like we both competed
Yeah,
on like lots of other submission undergrounds, but I don't really remember much about that night. I was probably pretty grumpy. I'm not like I don't like go places to lose matches, so I'm not like it's always a fun trip when you go down to Portland, but it's in your head on the night you lose, it's kind of just like a little silent spiral by yourself.
for sure. And so now we've got CJI, and I mean, like, I want to dive into what you've got going on, but let's talk about this because it's all the talk of the crowd right now. It's blown up. I mean, you've done ADCC. the opens, the trials, and whatnot, and now this comes onto the scene. When you first heard about it, what were your thoughts, and did you believe Craig was actually doing it when he initially started talking about it, or like what did you think?
I didn't really know at first. Like, I heard people at the gym talking about it. I'm not like super in the know about stuff, but I follow like Craig and most of the ADCC stuff on Instagram. So I started seeing like rumblings of it, but then it was kind of interesting to watch it like become a thing, like in live time. Like it's not like something you have to wait for the next year. It like kind of like bubbled up not that long ago, and now it's happening and not that long.
And the fact that, I mean, it makes sense. At first, I was when they announced that it was going to be the same day, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like the same weekend and whatnot. But in the end, it sort of makes sense because you got to make guys choose. If it was opposite weekends of ADCC, like ADCC was one weekend, CJI was the next weekend, guys could dip and do both and win ADCC and then win $1 million potentially. What are your thoughts on it being the same weekend?
I don't know. It kind of sucks, but then it has to be the same weekend for it to do what he's trying to do, or for it to maybe do what he's hoping for it to do, or like. But I don't know. It couldn't have been exactly. It couldn't have been another weekend, and then people would have just done both. Like if what he's trying to do is get uh, things like ADCC to like share the wealth, as he's saying a little bit. Like the only way to affect them is to do it the same weekend and take people that they were planning on marketing and using them for his thing.
And
But
it
it kind of
seems to,
sucks because I love the ADCC like show and format, and they do
yes.
such a fun thing. But I get it from both sides for sure.
Do you think do you think that it will continue to be a yearly thing? Like in your mind, if you were a betting man, do you think that this will carry on to be a yearly thing, or does it depend on how this show goes? I mean, look at the names. Like, arguably, the talent pool is like very rich in terms of depth of quality of talent. So, can they make it a possibility every year to do this, or do you think people will jump back in 2 years to ADCC?
I'm not sure if it has to compete on the same day next year.
Yeah,
Like I would hope that this year they kind of like solve things between them, because it's always good to have competition, but
for sure.
you want big tournaments, and it'd be nice to have people be able to win ADCC and win $1 million, and it'd be cool if that was at the same time. But like baby steps, but maybe this is like a big leap towards it. But I would hope it happens again, but maybe just on like an opposite schedule of it, or maybe just at a different time, or I don't know. If they're going to have $1 million, then it's cool to do it each time. Then are they going to do like qualifiers, or is it invite every time? I don't know. It's cool. I'm a fan of people making $1 million.
Do you think it will make the sport grow in terms of the monetary value? Do you think that it will force other promotions to have to pay more?
Um, I don't know. It if if they don't, I think he might just be like Spifle and keep doing it at the
Yeah,
same time. But I think this is going to be a very successful show for Craig. I think ADCC will be very successful too, but I think it's gonna be very big for Craig. Like I don't know how you could have those people competing free on YouTube for $1 million and not have it just be wildly successful.
that's the thing. The fact that, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like ADCC, obviously, Flow Grappling is like the pinnacle of grappling websites, but the fact that it's free on YouTube is a game changer. Anybody and everybody can watch it if they want to.
And having that $1 million like prize attached to it will have people who don't watch jujitsu will be, wait, people are gonna make $1 million? How? And they're gonna like there's gonna be like there's going to be the wrestling community is going to hear about there's a couple wrestlers going in to
Exactly.
compete for it. Like I don't know. I think it's going to be huge.
Are there so I don't think the lists are complete yet. If we look at, CJI originally, when we see the guys that were announced initially, obviously Tackett brothers, Fionn Davies, I was sort of surprised with Luke Rockhold, but sort of cool to get, an MMA name in there. And then we go up the list, obviously the B team guys get brought in. I don't think Ethan is a part of it. I think he's still doing ADCC. I'm not sure. But are there any guys on this list that you were surprised that made the jump over? I mean, I was surprised with Mikey the other day and the Rotolo brothers.
I've been surprised by people that are like surprised at Luke Rockhold and that like Luke Rockhold used to have like the best grappling
Yeah?
going. Like he's like everyone I've heard has just said he's just like an absolute monster. So then I heard people be like, I can't believe Luke Rockhold's in it. I was like, what? Like I'm surprised he hasn't done like an eight. Like he was like at the time he beat Weidman, he was the guy. He
Yeah.
just got so cocky. But like
Do you think he's a sleeper pick in this then? Like he could do it?
yeah, it seems like the it's like enhanced games, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've heard from anyone who's like grappled him has said he's just like he's very, very good. But then I don't know, there's some really good jujitsu guys in that. It'll be like that's gonna be a
Oh yeah.
hard tournament to win. But I do think that Luke can like be very competitive in it.
I mean, he's in the over 80 kilogram division, right? Like some of these guys are big boys.
Luke's a big boy. Like I would
True,
think
true.
Luke's like I would think he's like 225. I don't know how big Nicky Rod
Really?
is, but not like not a
Yeah.
whole bunch bigger than that.
No. And then what are your thoughts on, Gabby Garcia against Craig Jones? You think that's just going to be a toy around match or are actually going to go at it?
I legit have no idea what's gonna happen. Like I don't even know if it's gonna be a match. Like I have no idea. Like I have no idea what to expect.
It's so crazy. And I mean I keep scrolling up on this and the list continues, man. Like Renato Canuto, Mateus Diniz, like the names are insane. So does this put I've heard this and I've talked to other people about ADCC this year. In some of the divisions that are a little slimmer because of this, does it put an asterisk on your win?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has to. But
Yeah.
like I would think the only weight classes that are like severely affected by it are the like I would think I don't know, are there a lot of guys from like 77? Like the
I'm not sure. I think 66 might be the one that doesn't have anyone over in it, right? Because that's furthest away from that 80 kilograms.
that's what I'm thinking. Like
So
it
like
makes most sense
66,
for like
yeah.
the
Like you won't see Mika coming over probably, I'm sure.
are
But
there any 88 kilo guys doing the under?
that's a good question. I was surprised that both Rutolo brothers, I think it's sort of cool that both are doing the under 80 kilogram. So, I mean, it'd be awesome if they match them up and we see them against each other because they will go hard against each other.
Yeah, I actually think that'd be really fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's like two people that would grapple each other lots and they actually would just like try to beat each other.
Oh, 100%, especially for $1 million, right? Like you're going to do anything for $1 million. And some of these guys, like I was thinking like Mikey coming over, or actually even the Rotolo brothers coming over, like are they doing it? Yeah, $1 million is great, but like Cade has the ADCC championship. He could have defended it. He could do that. But is he coming over here to add another accolade to his list along with the $1 million? Like people are saying the prestige of ADCC is a thing, but winning $1 million and having the CJI title is quite prestigious as well, in my opinion.
I think $1 million is prestigious.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I think the outside of the jiu-jitsu world, which is like pretty small,
Yeah,
no one knows what ADCC is, unfortunately. Like if you just said like those letters in a row,
yeah,
they wouldn't really know what it is yet. It's not outside the world of jiu-jitsu, but neither will CJI if you just said that. But if you said, I saw this guy win $1 million choking people out,
yeah,
check it, check it out, free on YouTube. I think that's going to get a lot of views. When if you're saying like, I saw these guys compete in a tournament and the winner won $10,000,
exactly. And
you
a
can
tournament that has
you
been around for ages.
and then you can pay to watch this behind a paywall.
Yeah,
It's just not like you're gonna have like the grappling enthusiasts really want to watch, but you're not. I don't see much of like a crossover from non-grappling people to like paying to watch ADCC on Flow. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm not behind the numbers or anything, but like I just don't see that being a thing. Like it's hard enough to get like people to pay for like Fight Pass to
yes.
watch like UFC stuff or like I don't know, like any subscription you're trying to sell is like
I mean, other than like
hard to sell.
Netflix and Disney Plus and Prime and stuff like that, but I feel like these other pay models are almost an archaic sort of model. Like we see WWE is coming to Netflix next year, which is insane. You know what I mean? Like jiu-jitsu is not at that level obviously, but free on YouTube, and then you're running ads on it, I'm sure, if you have your, you know, all that kind of monetization stuff up. So if you're running ads on YouTube for free, you're going to be making money on top of it, and then Craig is doing all the stuff, nonprofit and giving back to charities and whatnot. So it's a brilliant and strategic sort of game plan that he has going on with this, and I'm interested to see what Mo does. What are your thoughts? So ADCC Craig or Gordon Ryan says now that he's going to be competing on Saturday and Sunday. He's taking on Felipe Pena on Saturday, and then he's taking on Yuri Simoes on Sunday, sort of creating his own medal for Saturday night. What are your thoughts on this?
What does that mean? He like they just like invented a super fight for him
Yeah,
on it?
exactly. On Saturday night, he's doing a super fight on Saturday night, and then a super fight on Sunday.
What
This was announced yesterday.
what if he like loses and gets
Good
hurt? Or
question.
like
Yeah, I mean Felipe hasn't looked great recently, but he who know, it's jujitsu, man. Anything could happen.
yeah, I don't know. I guess they're just like trying to compete with the view like I don't know if
Because
it's
CJI
like
is
a
Friday and Saturday, right? So it's almost like they had to do something to get people to come over to Flow to watch on Saturday night while the CJI finals are going on.
you think they're gonna get people to
Probably
pay
not.
to
That's the thing, right? Like you
like
said, the crossover is likely not going to be there. And I've seen like you what are
and
you
the
going to
people with flow are just gonna watch both.
both, exactly. Yeah. So does it do anything it doesn't do anything outside of Gordon's current fan base to do that. Like other than potentially lose to Felipe Pena like you're saying. What if he loses?
It's cool to see like an extra match, I guess. But yeah, I don't think that's gonna like affect unless they like put it free on flow.
Yes, that's true. That could that could be interesting, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what ADCC can do this year to cuz I've also seen people that have bought tickets to ADCC cuz this came up so quickly, right? And people bought tickets to ADCC like a year ago. And now they're like, fuck, can I get CJI tickets?
Well, I know people who did the switch over and people who are going to try and watch both. And yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. And I know, like, I'm sure you hit up Craig to see if you could get on the card. Yeah,
oh, I think every grappler that
every
was
grappler wants $1 million.
alive. Yeah.
For sure. All right. Let's sort of wrap things up by talking about, what you got going on. I know you did a podcast that got dropped already this week, Way of BJJ. I'm sure you told a ton of your story on that, but you moved from BC across to the East Coast in Ontario to start a gym that I want to hear about the progress of this. Like, talk to me about what you had when it first started, because it's, judging by the Instagram page, it's blown the hell up.
Yeah, it's been crazy. We like drove across at like I guess like the worst time. Like I hadn't seen people wear masks really in Canada yet. When I competed in the States, I'd seen people wearing masks, but then as we were driving across, like I remember in Alberta, we saw some people like wearing masks in Saskatchewan or in Alberta, and then by the time we got to Saskatchewan, there's a sign on the Tim Hortons that said mask mandatory.
Jeez.
And then we like drove in, and then our grand opening was going to be October 10th, just because it was like 10/10 for 10th Planet.
Yeah.
And the day before, I had cleaned the gym, and then I went over and I grabbed my phone to take a picture of the gym and like post on Instagram about the grand opening tomorrow. And there's like a Google alert being like Ontario shut down tomorrow,
Oh
5
man.
a.m. I was like, oh, well, that is nice. And I had like friends driving or like flying in for it and stuff. So we just had like a quiet little underground roll and took a picture with masks on, standing 6 feet apart. And then
Oh man.
like, it was terrible.
So with that grand opening, like, was there already a set group of, like, paying members already that you had there? Because it wasn't a jujitsu gym initially, right?
It was like a Muay Thai gym that they
Yeah.
had. It was just like a pretty small. The facility wasn't small. Like now, when our students refer back to it, like people who have only trained there and
Yeah.
here, they call that gym tiny. And it was like a pretty good sized gym. Like it was probably like like 3,000 square feet, 35,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Like it was a good sized gym that had like a good like we had a boxing ring in it for a while and lots of mat space, and then we got rid of the boxing ring and filled that with mat space. So we had like a lot of mat space, but just our new space is like 11,000 square feet, and like half of it is mats now. So people are
Interesting.
used to that. So
Yeah.
it's funny to see people just be like people are like they think that jujitsu is just what our gym is, and they have like showers and they have a store right
Yeah.
there that has like sells Gatorade and their rash guards right there.
Little do they know, right? Like,
Man, it's
humble
crazy.
beginnings. Yeah, that's
Oh yeah, now
crazy.
my rash guard collection is just like drawers full, and like I would have just killed people for like two extra rash guards
Hey, do you want to
like
sponsor
10
me
years
for this?
ago.
I just want a free rash guard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like I fought people for boxing gloves. I fought people for like rash guards.
Yeah.
Like uh
It's got to be quite surreal to look back on that. Like I said, like, you drove across Canada at the worst time. You have a huge space that you're in now with how many members?
we're getting up there. We're getting like almost 700, which is just like crazy to think about. Like it's
Yeah,
just like doesn't make up that split with Muay Thai, but like
still, like,
yeah, it's
surreal. Pinch yourself
I never
moments,
thought.
Micah.
Oh no, it's my entire like I'm very aware of it every time I step into the gym. I'm just
I
Like
bet.
just a
I mean,
huge
we
smile on my
drove down
face.
to Submission Underground in a truck that I did not think we were going to make it there in.
I legit thought I was bawling with that truck. Like that truck
Yeah.
was when I was like, that's when like things like that was the turnaround, was that truck. Like that truck was like, for me, that thing had, did it have working speakers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was the first one with working
Yeah.
speakers. That was like that truck that scared you, was like, that was my first sense of security in my life, I think.
And now you own a pretty decent vehicle and a gym. Like, I'm, I mean, my God,
Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. So good fucking job on that front, man. Like, your name is out there. You've done big things. I'm super proud of you. What do you got going on next?
I'm competing. We're hosting some seminars
Oh
in
yeah,
like that,
talk about that.
like next weekend. We have um, me doing a seminar, and then Nabil, who gave me my black belt, a seminar, and then uh, Gio Martinez and Richie Martinez both doing seminars, and then Oliver Taza, and then like our main one's Gary Tonin, and we're doing like three back-to-back days of hour and a half seminars with little breaks in between, and it's gonna be very cool. I'm super excited. I think the best seminar I ever did was a Gary Tonin seminar, and it was right at a time where I had done a couple not so good seminars in a row, and I
Yeah,
was really, where I, a lot of the time, just because like I was usually a coach at the gym, or like not many seminars did I pay for, and then
yeah.
I paid for one, and it was with like a pretty good guy, and it was just like the worst use of like 2.5 hours I'd ever done. So I wasn't really into it. And then Nabil convinced me to go to the Gary one. He's like, this is gonna be worth it. And it really was. And it kind of brought me back into like liking doing seminars and stuff. So it's cool to actually like host him now in like a week here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you. What are you calling it again?
It's the Super Six seminar series. So Toronto's the six,
Yeah,
and there's six instructors. I don't know.
gonna be a yearly thing.
Yeah, that's the plan. We want to kind of blow up and get bigger every time. It's kind of hard. We got, like, the plan was just to get like bigger and better seminars every time, and then we randomly, like, we did a Henry Cejudo seminar on like 2 days
Yeah.
notice, and so it's kind of hard to top that. I really didn't expect him to be as popular as he was. Where I was expecting it just to be like a popular jujitsu guy
Yeah,
thing, and he was like famous. Like people just wanted to like take their picture with him. Like they were
of
like
course.
standing. It wasn't, of course, to me. I
No.
really thought it was gonna be just like, I thought it was gonna be like Eddie Bravo, I guess, or like
Yeah,
I
okay.
didn't even know if it was gonna be like that much. And then it was like people were like nerding, like people were like in the
Really?
change room when he was changing. They're like, "Oh, can I get a photo?" I know it's like, and we're like, "No, man, we're in the bathroom. Like, what are we doing?" So it really
It's
surprised me that
Triple
we had
C,
him, but
man.
yeah, so he was very popular. So our plan is to try and do really big ones eventually. Like Toronto's a big city. Like
Yeah,
there's like people come into Toronto from all over. It would be, our plan is to like really build it up and have like a premier sort of event where we're having a really big seminar set like at least once a year.
and you guys, are you hosting competitions and tournaments over there?
No, the bureaucracy of jujitsu in Ontario is wild. It's
Yeah.
just like a whole, yeah, it's a whole different game. Like you can't run a jiu-jitsu tournament without being a part of one of the two sanctioning bodies, and like
Okay.
both of them are like in cahoots, and they like talk, and they like plan days, and they like, we'll take these days, you take that days, and they just give them out to their friends, and then they
Of
just
course.
don't give out days to other ones. And then like they finally gave us a day like a long time ago. We've been asking for like 2 years to run a tournament. They gave us a day, and
Oh
then
my God.
the like next week it gets announced at ADCC. Ottawa, like the first one in Canada,
Yeah.
was like the same day or the next weekend or something. And we're like,
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
okay, yeah,
So do you have, you said before, you said the seminar series, you got any competitions coming up?
yeah. Like 2 weeks after that, the July 20th, I'm doing an event. It's like a 16-man bracket under 185 and a 16-man over 185, and there's like a prize for each division, and then the winners compete against each other for another prize. And I've
Oh,
heard there's some
wow.
like good guys. Like I heard someone say Dante Leon was in it. I'm not sure, but I'm doing the under 185, and I was like right on track to be under 185 pounds. And then I went to BC, and my mom and Jen's mom like competitively fed me like bread, and
So
then so now I
you
have
got a
to
pretty
like
good cut to do.
not like I'm just gonna have to like eat. I don't, man. As soon as you're overweight, you just
Yeah.
want to
You want to
like
eat more.
you want to eat more,
I
and then
hear
so
you,
now
man.
I'm like,
I'm sitting at 5'10", 207 pounds right now. Like I just love food right now. And I mean, sometimes when I'm in mount, it helps me, but other than that, I feel like sluggish to say the least. Um, but that's where's that going down?
it's in Windsor, so it's like I didn't Google it, but I think it's like 3 hours, 4 hours,
Okay,
maybe 5 hours away, but like right above Detroit, but
nice.
still in Ontario.
Is it going to be streaming? You know anything about that, or it's just you show up and you're going to do your thing?
I don't know. I will know, I'm sure, um, soon. Um, TJ Lallermy, or the guy who beat
Laramie, yeah,
Swain.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's putting it on, or he's
Oh,
the one
cool.
who I talked to do it. So
Is he competing in it too?
I don't know. I
I
think
mean,
he's
he's
like putting it
small,
on,
but
but he's pretty good. He's come to
he's
my gym. He's a pretty
stocky.
good grappler, but
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like helping putting it on, or
Okay.
I don't think he's doing it, but he might be.
Nice. Well, Micah, it's been a pleasure. I've taken up 35 minutes of your time. Thank you for chatting CJI with me. Thank you for telling me the story of making the trek to Ontario. And man, again, huge congratulations to you, man. If you have anything else, any other shout outs, let people know where they can find you on social media. The floor is yours.
No, it's all just under my name, Micah Brakefield. But it was fun talking to you. It's cool to see like when you get your black belt. Like I remember when we made that trip down, were you belted at the time? Like you
I
had
think I
trained and then
was,
stopped.
yeah, I think I was still a blue belt at the time.
But you're a blue belt who hadn't trained for a while,
Yeah, I
right?
hadn't trained for like 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And now, like, I can't not train.
that's the
So,
coolest.
yes.
Yeah, that's the life.
Yeah, man. Well, anyways, I took up enough of the viewers' times too. So make sure you check this out. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, do all that other jazz. Check out Micah's interview with Way of BJJ on Spotify, I think, is where you can find that. With, I don't know, was Tuna a part of it or just,
No, we made fun of him briefly
oh,
for those.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And make sure you check out Battle Mats. It's a 185-pound bracket that I've got going on with Battlefield Fight League. It's going to be going down July 12th. I'm not sure where it's going to be streaming, but 8-man bracket that's going to be pretty damn stacked. So check that out on Instagram, battle_mats. Anyways, Micah, thanks for joining me today, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. It's good. It was good to talk to you again.
For sure.